Okay, so we're going to read through some comments on the video I did of the Oklahoma City Sergeant Joseph GIBSON, the 28-year-old badge-heavy punk that was throwing around the 71-year-old, I'm thinking he was Vietnamese, I don't know, man, and some people don't like what I had to say. And this one says, I was interested in this video until you, the narrator, started bad-mouthing the cop. Were you? Okay, well, feel free to click on the details or look right below the video, and it will tell you exactly where I stand with law enforcement. I want to make this perfectly clear. I do not hate law enforcement. I hate what law enforcement has become. I hate that badge-heavy LEOs that do not even know the law or how to enforce it. My husband was in the Marine Corps. He was with law enforcement. He worked for the Department of Corrections for a total of 30 years, and the stuff that's going on now, and all of them didn't go on back when he worked there. And if it did, they would bring you in before the chief, dress you down. That happened 3 times. You were gone. They made it a point to always have a stack of new applications on the chief's desk 24/7, just in case there was any doubt about how things worked. There was expectation, standards, and accountability. Now it seems there is none of that. I was in the medical field for many years and have prior law enforcement training. Let me know what your thoughts on the videos are in the comments. Thanks for watching. And then it goes on to say exactly. So if you thought this was a Back to Blue channel, it is not. Now, when I find some good cops, I will put them up here. I've found one so far. And that was Christmas of last year. You can go watch that one. And then this one says, actually, this officer was very cordial and informative. By this video, he was not cordial and informative. He was zero cordial. He went, there's a use of force continuum and a totality of circumstances. This was a 71-year-old, I think he was Vietnamese, and this cop was just going to show him who the boss is. That's not how the use of force continuum works. That's not how the totality of circumstances are. This was a 28-year-old badge-heavy punk that was going to make this guy comply one way or the other. It is quite obvious that you hate Leos, seem to ignore facts, and can't give an objectively analysis of this stop. The man understood his instructions, decided to not follow, and chose to go to jail. Then he became belligerent. I guess that's supposed to be. Upon arrest, quite simple. But the obstruction and belligerence of the violator, or by the obstruction and belligerence of the violator, the officer was forced to take him to the ground exactly like he was trained. What don't you comprehend? Let's not forget the other victims of his crime also. He caused every minute of this episode. The victims of it, he barely touched that other car. You saw the damage, and I'm not ignoring any facts. A 28-year-old badge-heavy punk threw a 71-year-old man to the ground. Officer forced to take him to the ground. Exactly. He was not trained to, they are not trained to hold people's arms behind their back and throw them headfirst into the ground. And if they are trained like that, that whole department needs to be burnt to the ground. I comprehend every bit of what he did. He's a punk and he should be in prison. Well, the admission they adhered to their training sounds like a direct admission of guilt. How is that not the direct equivalent of stating they can't committed the crime they were trained to perform? They can't. Anyway, the 71-year-old man should know better. Keep his hands to himself. Some people like a simple thing called self-accountability. This totality of circumstances. Seek immediate mental health attention. Oh, dude should have kept his hands to himself. No, the cop should have de-escalated. That's the whole premise of his job. Police officers in Oklahoma have always been able to do what they want. Yes. Cop should be in prison. He's a cancer patient. Isn't relevant. The language barrier is on the foreigner, not on the officer. The inability to cooperate is on the foreigner, not the officer. The only thing relevant here is that GIBSON did not need to use the amount of force to make the arrest. He shouldn't have debated with Vu as long as he did. Cuff him and be done with it. No, didn't even need to do all that. Did not need to do all that. That stop could have been over with a long time ago. And no, totality of circumstances. Officer should have known there was a language barrier, backed off, took a breath, and tried to help him understand where he was coming from. No, he's a badge-heavy punk that should be in prison. Anyway, that's all I'm going over with these. This is not the idea of this. This is where we're at. North Bergen swears in Farley as the 11th police chief. Ooh, this must be a good one. This must be one of the good cops. Hold on.
And in this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God.
Robert Farley Jr. taking the oath of office, becoming the 11th chief of police in North Bergen's history. Farley follows in his grandfather's and father's footsteps, both of whom became deputy chiefs in North Bergen.
Farley family has finally got the chief, and that's fantastic. You know, he's right for the job. He's ready for the job. He's gone through the ranks. He never got what he got because of his last name. He did everything he had to do to become the man he is today and take on the role as chief. And myself and the commissioners and the mayor couldn't be more happy and more pleased with this promotion and the man we're getting about Farley.
For the past 4 years, he's been my right-hand man. There's nobody more capable of handling the job. He knows his job. He's lived in town his whole life. He knows the people. He knows everybody that I worked with, and there was absolutely nobody else that would be able to take on this role, I believe. And I worked hand in hand with him. We did some succession planning over the past couple of months, over the past couple of years. It was always a learning process. And he lives and breathes this job like I do, and he's one of my best friends. He's like a brother to me, and he's going to be absolutely outstanding. The township is in really good hands with him.
So this is really a great day for North Bergen. Ralph Farley earned this. He earned this. He's worked hard. He's done a great job. He has great morale with the people who he works with.
I was happy to be a sergeant in 2007. Never realizing that I would surpass both my grandfather and my father. I really look up to my father. He was inspiration for me to take this job, and to keep the legacy going past deputy chief. It's just it means so much to me. It really does. I live here. I go to businesses here. I have a lot of friends here throughout the town, and I look forward to being a great police chief for the residents of Bergen and the business owners of Bergen and the mayor and commissioners.
You touched on this briefly in your speech at the podium. What would you like to accomplish? What's the first thing on your agenda?
First thing on my agenda is to continue the community policing model. We had it going good. I just want to expand on that.
Chief Farley joined the department in 1997. Reporting from the North Bergen Rec Center for HUD News, I'm Jeff Hennig.
Thank you, Jeff. And then, fast forward a year. 1 year later.
The charges against Police Chief Robert Farley are stunning and bizarre. They include allegations that he spiked officers' coffee with Viagra and that he poked one officer with a hypodermic needle in the genitals. 5 officers have filed lawsuits against the chief, accusing him of sexual misconduct and harassment. They claim some of his actions were absolutely disgusting, demeaning, and demoralizing. Among other things, they accuse him of defecating on the floor in front of his entire staff. They describe fits of rage during which Farley would damage things in the office, and they claim he would order officers to complete his daughter's homework. The officer's attorney spoke to reporters.
We have never seen anything that comes anywhere near this. As a trial lawyer, I make my living with words. I can't think of the precise word that would, describe what these actions, or how these actions could be described.
The alleged culture of humiliation and harassment Farley is accused of fostering includes sneaking hot peppers into officers' food, sending sex toys and gay pride flags to the homes of a cop, and tossing eggs in fits of anger, all according to the legal papers. Chief Farley was nowhere to be seen, and officers we saw outside headquarters would not talk. but township officials are still expressing full confidence in Chief Farley's leadership. A statement from the township declares that at this point, none of the charges have been proven to be true and not to rush to judgment. It claims that the officers who are filing this suit are doing it to serve their own selfish goals. Meantime, the matter has been turned over to the state's Attorney General's office for investigation.
Has it? Anything else to say about that?
Oh, could you just kind of walk me through, just to start by giving me the overview of this case?
Sure. Okay, so generally, our firm represents 5 different law enforcement officers employed by the North Bergen Police Department. One is a lieutenant, another one is a special law enforcement officer 2, who is a retired police officer asked to come back in the position of SELO, it's called SLEO 2 as the acronym. A third is a detective, and 2 officers. All 5 have thus far filed what is known as a Title 59 Notice of Tort Claim. In New Jersey, in order to preserve certain claims someone may have when they sue a public entity, they have to first file a Title 59 Notice of Tort Claim to place the public entity on notice that they intend to sue. Then the state statute essentially calls for a waiting period of 180 days, and if the municipality doesn't come to the table to attempt to settle the issues, then the lawsuit could actually be filed. And that's where we are in terms of where the matter stands going forward for purposes of the Title 59 Notice of Claim and the potential lawsuit. Now, to date, all 5 have filed their Title 59 Notices of Tort Claim, along with all attachments. That's filed with the municipality, and of course, as a result of that filing, it all becomes public record. And that's where we stand right now in terms of at least procedural history.
So it's a suit against the chief and the department?
It's not an actual suit.
Oh, well,
it's the notice of claim, but
yeah.
the named defendants, if the matter doesn't settle amicably prior to filing a suit, it would be the Township of North Bergen, Robert Farley, the current chief of police, and probably certain other superior officers. Right now, we're looking at maybe 2 other superior officers.
And what do these officers, the plaintiffs, what do they say happened?
Well, have you had the opportunity to look at the Title 59? There you go. Okay, so there, since the chief, apparently Mr. Farley was sworn in approximately 1 year ago. As soon as he became chief, the retaliation, the actions on the job, Mr. Farley's actions on the job, ostensibly immediately changed. In other words, as soon as he's sworn in, he then begins to do certain things within the department. As these things initially, or these acts are initially, for want of a better word, reflected by Mr. Farley, they get worse and worse. They progressively get worse and worse. Comes to a point where, out of our 5 officers that we represent, 2 or 3 immediately begin to say, hey, listen, this is not just pranking anymore. This is getting, a little out of control. Now, we're a law enforcement agency, so they would advise, the chief himself, Mr. Farley himself, as well as others, that these actions are getting out of control. Once they started to take umbrage at the actions, then remarks were made to them along the lines of, you can't take a joke. If you can't take it, get out, retire, get lost, remove yourself from the department. Again, subsequent to that, Mr. Farley's actions got worse and worse. So when I say worse and worse, month after month after month, to a point where the only way we could describe them now, and all you have to do is look at the evidence, the pictures, the photos, what's stated in the Title 59 Notices of Claim. We actually have another video, a separate video. All you have to do is take a look at those to show what these acts entail. And some of them are just absolutely disgusting. Others have nothing to do with the officers. When I say nothing to do with the officers on the job, it actually went so far as to send certain things to officers' homes in terms of, I say in terms of, more precisely, masturbation cream, sexual toys, certain flags, gay flags. Listen, nobody really cares. If someone is gay, nobody cares about that. But why a gay flag would be sent by Mr. Farley to one of our officers' homes so the wife and the child could see it, and open mail, we have no idea. You'd have to ask him that. Other acts include stabbing one of our officers in the genitals with a hypodermic needle, placing Viagra, Adderall in office coffee urns for one.
Placing Adderall in coffee urns that other people are going to be drinking from. Why can't we charge him with attempted murder? Because if you read the inserts, A, it's by prescription only narcotic. Where's he getting the prescription from? And two, if you read the inserts, even when you're talking to the doctor and you're filling the paperwork out for them, the information says, you understand these are the side effects of this medication up to and including death. And you agree with all this, and you agree to sign for it, you agree to take it, you agree to get the prescription filled, and you're understanding that the side effects are up to and including death could be a cause, a side effect of this medication. That's where we're at.
Of a better word, coffee pots, shaving, and I know some of this sounds a little weird, guys. It's not real easy to relay, okay, because it's so bizarre. You know, shaving his arms, taking his shirt off naked from the waist up, and shaving his arms on the desks of, I believe it's a deputy chief, scraping certain excrement off of his underwear onto persons' desks, defecating on the floor, your garbage cans, where witnesses watched it, saw it, not once, but numerous times. And this is just a smattering of certain things that were done. There's much more that are done, and they're all, enumerated in the Title 59 Notices of Tort Claim.
And let's also remember that he didn't get this job because his father and his grandfather also held this position. He was the best one for the job.
First had this case come across your desk, how'd you feel? What was your reaction?
Bizarre. We've represented probably, literally, hundreds and hundreds of police officers over the years. What we do here at our firm, what we sort of specialize in. And you think you see it all? We've never seen anything like this in all my years. I'll be a lawyer almost 40 years next year. He's a little younger, one of our partners here, but we've never seen in all the officers matters we've seen. We represented officers in criminal, civil, matrimonial, whatever it might be. We have never seen anything that comes anywhere near this. This is, again, I make my living with words. I've said it before. As a trial lawyer, I make my living with words. I can't think of the precise word that would, describe what these actions, or how these actions could be described.
And these are all things that he's accused of doing after he was promoted to chief?
As soon as he was promoted to the position of chief, this is when this all started in earnest, and it just got progressively worse and worse and worse.
That's when it started in earnest. No, that is not when it started then. It had something had been going on before then. He just said that's when it started in earnest. No, this has not just started. This has been going on.
At one point in time, one of our clients, actually two of them, advised their supervisors there that they were reporting what's going on to the Attorney General's office, New Jersey State Attorney General's office. We suggested to them that they do that after consultation. One of the clients advised the supervisors that they were actually driving there. They were leaving the department to drive to the Attorney General's office. As they're driving to the Attorney General's office, that client who advised them that he was doing so received a phone call, and he was terminated over the phone by, we believe, a deputy chief. Pretty sure it's a deputy chief. The termination was clearly illegal, violated 3 or 4 state statutes. You just can't do that. You're entitled to procedural due process, internal affairs trial, and everything else. Preliminary notices, disciplinary action. None of that was done, and he was just telephonically terminated.
So is he terminated now, or is he currently technically employed still by the department, or?
As a result of the illegal termination, we contacted North Bergen. It appears as though North Bergen realized that that cannot be statutorily done. It was illegal. So then they noticed him subsequent to that with a letter that we received saying he's entitled to a hearing. And of course we've requested that. That's where we stand now. But before that was done, after he was telephonically terminated, a letter was sent to everyone within the department. A memo was circulated within the department saying that Special Law Enforcement Officer 2, Michael Derrin, was terminated from the department. Why that letter was sent, we have no idea. You'd have to ask them.
But it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of the administrative process, all of your clients in this case are all currently employed by the departments.
That is correct, but we're not sure. When we say all of them, Special Law Enforcement Officer 2, Darren, he was terminated. We've received nothing in writing that precisely says or specifically says that the termination is not effective. All he received subsequent was he's entitled to a hearing. Now, was the termination ineffective? Of course it was. It was illegal. But I think that's a question most respectfully better asked of Bergen.
So the township has released a statement. They say they have full confidence in the chief's leadership. They strongly deny these false and outrageous allegations. They say that your clients are disgruntled officers who are resorting to attacking the reputation of a dedicated public servant to further their own selfish goals, in their words. Your response to that?
Complete and utter rubbish. There's no other word to say that. Let me tell you why. First of all, you have documentary evidence. You have photographs of certain things that have gone on. Fact. Other times you have witnesses, numerous witnesses, who've seen defecation, who've seen what was delivered or sent to one of our clients' homes. That's number two. Number three, all of our clients have straight out told us they'd have no problem whatsoever taking polygraph exams immediately. Now, we understand the admissibility of polygraphs in the state of New Jersey, but the fact of the matter is you're not going to have 5 law enforcement officers who say straight out on initial, listen, I want to go on a polygraph. I want them to see that everything we are saying is accurate. And again, more than that, the Title 59 notices of tort claim that have been filed are very, very fact-specific and are in fact supported by either documentary evidence, photographs, or not 1 or 2 witnesses, numerous witnesses.
Is there a reason you know why those officers aren't here, why they're not speaking out today?
Straight out fear retaliation. At this point in time, what we've done via a writing, we wrote directly to the Attorney General's office requesting that Mr. Farley be relieved of his duties or at least disarmed. They're scared based on certain fit of rages that they've witnessed. Now that they have filed this and it's become public the way it has, and again, it's all public record. It's a public filing, a Title 59 notice of tort claim. They all fear that if they're physically on the job there and he's physically there, they feel for both retribution on the job, career retribution, as well as physical retribution. Excuse me.
I think you covered about everything we needed. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nothing other than we understand that the statement that's been issued, that there's no signature on that. It was just a representative of the township. That's what we understand. So why they're saying what they're saying, essentially, we don't understand in light of the evidence we've provided to them. That's about it.
Do you guys have any questions?
How would you characterize the work environment at that police department?
From what we're told by our 5 officers, as well as several others that we don't represent, right now, the work environment is chaotic. Now, I could tell you, based on experience with the North Bergen Police Department, we've represented other officers in the past, years back, for different reasons. The North Bergen Police Department is one of the finest police departments in the state of New Jersey. Phenomenal, not good, phenomenal officers there. So to be told what we're being told now, that it's either chaotic, that this entire story has essentially dropped a chaos grenade on the department, I guess you're better off speaking, most respectfully, to representatives from North Bergen to maybe further describe.
How long have your clients been on the job?
Several years. One, the Special Law Enforcement Officer 2, was a retired officer, asked to come back by Mr. Farley to work in his front office. Second one is a lieutenant on the job for years. And all other officers, well, 2 of the others are on the job also for years. One is younger, and that is the Special Law Enforcement Officer 2, Mike Darren, his son. And by the way, as soon as our client, Darren, was illegally terminated telephonically, his son, within 24 hours, I believe it is, was transferred from the day shift to the midnight shift.
Was there any behavior like this before he was elevated to chief?
We've been asked that question before. From what our clients are saying, no, nothing this bizarre. It seems like as soon as he was...
Nothing this bizarre, but clearly there was some bizarre shit going on.
sworn in, the information that we've received by way of our investigation so far is ostensibly as soon as he was sworn in, his behavior immediately began to change. But it's interesting to note it's become progressively worse and worse and worse.
Were there any other complaints filed besides the Attorney General's office beforehand?
What we can tell you factually is, we advised the clients to go to the AG's office to report it. The Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, fine office, but because obviously North Bergen is right there in Hudson County and works with that prosecutor's office, we believe that the chief law enforcement office in the state, the AG's office, was the proper entity to investigate. And we can tell you factually that our clients have in fact reported everything that's going on to the AG's office.
They've referred the case to the prosecutor's office, according to their statement. Is that a good idea, do you think?
Well, what we understand is they referred it to the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. The Hudson County Prosecutor's Office has now referred everything, all questioning, to the Attorney General's office.
Yeah. Do you have a copy of the filing with you?
We have copies of the filings that just about everybody has thus far.
Right. We have the digital copy. I just thought it might be, it might help us visually if we had a shot, if John got a shot of like me and you, and maybe you're flipping.
You guys could, we'll print it out for you right now. Everybody else who's coming all day long has asked for that. We'll give you a copy right now for you to take a look at.
Okay, sounds good.
Is it too early to ask what you're seeking, what the officers are
Absolutely
seeking?
not. Everyone else has today. What they're seeking, number one, of course, they're looking for remuneration, monetary remuneration. However, number one is that he be relieved of his duties. Okay, nobody wants to hurt him. Our clients, no matter what they've been subjected to, have made it clear to us. Nobody wants to hurt the guy, but he needs to be relieved of his duties. Number one. Number two, he needs to be disarmed. We've requested of the AG's office that he be relieved of his duties and disarmed. Okay, and then of course, as a result of what they've gone through for the last year, we're looking for some sort of financial settlement. But again, let me make this clear. The financial settlement is not, that's not the key here. They want to see him relieved of his duties so they can work day to day on the job and continue to do what they love.
Would criminal charges be appropriate here?
Completely up to the AG's office, but I can tell you this. I worked, I'm a retired first assistant, Essex County prosecutor, and I can tell you that certain of these actions, okay, if proven, right, he has his right to, these claims have to be proven, but if proven, several of them are criminal in nature, but that would be up to the Attorney General's office, see what they would decide there, what their investigation reveals.
I'm good.
Good guys, terrific. Take your time, guys. If you want water, coffee, and then we'll bring in what you need.
Did you guys put out the pictures?
Yeah.
And the video also? You guys?
There's no video. There's pictures.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There is a video, but that waits.
Okay.
We're waiting on that. But we'll give you what we have here.
If we could get a shot of you with the filing, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, we'll print that out. It takes a little bit.
Okay.
There's 5 of them in a couple pages.
Yeah. Bring back in?
Yeah. And all the photos were part of that filing, so that's part of the public record aspect of this.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. You got it? No, I don't. No, not yet.
I was trying to see if there was going to be some talk when they forgot that the cameras and the audio were still running. But apparently there's some pictures and some videos somewhere, and we're going to see if we can find them. Of course, this is gonna drag out. That's probably going to be held for court. We're not going to be able to see that. Anyway, that's where I want this one right now. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Also, 92% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. You got your phone in your hand, you're at your laptop, click the button, and we'll move along. Let me know what you think about this one. And I'm out.